Big Scuba Crazy finna react to some Tommy G. Let's get into it. I don't be having too much to say. In Baltimore with
I've been held at gunpoint and raped in alley. I've been held hostage 3 times.
This floor actually could just crack in. That floor could just zip off. Okay.
Hello folks, today we're looking into the drug epidemic that is absolutely horrific and just infiltrating cities all around America.
All my veins have collapsed or they don't work.
Today we're boots on the ground in Baltimore where we're surrounded by dirty mattresses, needles, human feces, and just human despair.
Till you see a limp body whose life ends with a gun.
We're here to give people stories and also explore how we can make this better. This is a massive problem in America, something that we need to look into, need to figure out how to change, and we're here firsthand to explore and give you the story. Today, folks, we're going boots on the ground in Baltimore, getting an inside look into the drug epidemic that's running its way through the city. We go into trap houses that are full of paraphernalia. We explore the drug called Trank, which is ripping apart the city.
Turning people into what some are calling living zombies.
We're aided by our friend Nick, who has dedicated his life to helping people become sober.
I can refer you all over to the city and state.
We're also joined by YouTube journalist and my friend Brandon Buckingham, known for covering stories like the Juggalos, O-Block, the Capitol 6th riots, and much, much more. This guy is one of YouTube's best journalists. So now we go boots on the ground with Brandon and Nick. This is the stuff that mainstream media won't show you, but we will. Viewer discretion is advised.
I fuck with Tommy G though. He's showing with.
We're pulling into West Baltimore today, the second most dangerous city in America. And right now the city is in a state of emergency due to a drug epidemic. They're mixing fentanyl with xylazine, which is an animal tranquilizer. Putting it together, it's kind of the Kensington zombie effect. Their attorney general is petitioning to make it a state of emergency. There's dozens of news articles about it. It is really affecting the city. And today we're meeting up with a local contact that is dedicating his life to helping people in these situations. We'll see you on the streets. So we're investigating Trank today. Have you heard of that?
Of course, tranquilizer. That's been going on for years. It's nothing.
Really?
New. Just a different name.
And is it really flooding into the city right now?
In downtown Baltimore area might be more prevalent.
It's more prevalent in East or West Baltimore?
West.
If you were mayor, what would you do to help this issue?
I would probably try to clean up the Lexington Market area. That's pretty much the hub of the drug trade downtown.
Are you trying to incarcerate people? Or do you give them other opportunities?
Other opportunities, drug treatment, things of that nature.
My name's Nicholas Johns. I'm an outreach specialist. What I do basically is street interventions in places like West Baltimore, Philadelphia. I go into the streets and approach people that are in active addiction or states of homelessness and offer them an immediate route to remedy where their life is at.
What is the drug primarily that's ripping apart the city right now?
It's fentanyl. You know, before it was fentanyl, it was heroin.
So do you ever get nervous before you go and do this stuff?
Honestly, no. We're going into an impoverished area where gun violence is prevalent, you know, and there's a lot of drugs. I'm known in these areas, and also if anybody with us, like, y'all really don't need to worry about anything.
How many people like you are out doing what you're doing?
In Baltimore, at least me, just me.
What makes what you do unique?
I just get really strong numbers in regards to the amount of people that I actually place from the streets directly into treatment facilities on a given day.
How do people get into these positions?
People are born into this as an environment, in which case you got pretty much every angle of life stacked against you. You got generational poverty, institutionalized racism, cyclical devolution from drugs in your community. You've got the other way out, which is trying to procure money through the drugs in your community. Then you have the violence that goes alongside all of that.
That's down there everywhere, for sure.
Where is this stuff coming from? Is it Mexico? Is it China?
The analog for fentanyl is largely being produced within China and also Mexico. Xylazine is, you know, that's like a veterinarian drug used to sedate animals.
The average citizen, you're seeing an abandoned building, but to someone who could be battling opioid addiction right now, they see a place for shelter, a place to use substances safely, and they actually will sleep and live in a lot of these buildings.
So this is the first building we walked into, and already right away, needles. Imagine it's a spoon for heroin, or?
Yeah, so that's like a cooker. Somebody would use that to cook up whatever substances they were injecting. That's actually the same thing. That's also a cooker. Needles right there.
Show a lot of that on
cigarette butt,
YouTube.
but then you got the needle end cap right there.
Do people sleep in here?
I doubt it. People definitely get down right here. Right there's another cooker. So we're at 3 cookers. This actually probably isn't even that frequent of a spot.
Try and imagine living in an area where this is happening next to your house. You got dilapidation. It's infested with drugs and litter. And imagine being a kid growing up, seeing this every day when you walk to the bus to school, every day when you go to the corner store. What it might do to your psyche.
It's like that.
I wanted to ask, coming into places like this, they kind of provide protection from police, right? A safe place to get high and not have to worry about the cops arresting you.
Police in Baltimore really aren't preoccupied with people getting high unless it's people getting high in very like upper class areas. Otherwise, you know, they're worried about
like I said
gunshots
earlier,
here. They're worried about murders here. That right there, that's for smoking crack.
Should we play a game? What's in the suitcase? I'm guessing feces or a used condom.
I'm guessing nothing, but it's a damn nice looking suitcase.
Yeah.
So let's see what we got.
Okay.
Oh.
Advanced plastic sheeting.
That was brick,
This is
damn
what I was
near.
in it for. I've got what I need.
He's
So I'm
talking
gonna go hit Dave & Buster's. Appreciate
That
your
is a
time.
Dave & Buster's car.
Just one step outside of this
the hell?
abandoned building, I stepped directly. I'll be honest, this is what I was in it for. Advanced plastic sheeting. A rechargeable arcade card. I'll be honest, this is what I was in it for.
Oh, somebody probably used that sheet to lay on that couch right there. Just put it over there.
I'm gonna go hit Dave & Buster's. Appreciate your time. Just one step outside of this abandoned building, I stepped directly on this needle, hidden in the brush, exposed needle.
It seems like the classic, the telltale sign of this trank stuff is the zombie kind of.
I mean, yeah, when people are that nodded out, you know what I'm saying? They're incapacitated. It's just a perpetual state of unconsciousness. Yo! Syringe bags right there.
We're just walking to an abandoned building after abandoned building, and they are just, it looks like a war happened here. I mean, don't get me wrong, America has so much beauty in it, some of the greatest wealth the world has ever seen, but on the flip side, some of the highest amount of human despair. If you were mayor, what would you do to make this place a little safer or better for people?
Definitely put more food stores up.
Is there not enough places for people to get food and shelter?
Heck no, there's no like outreach, bro. There's nothing like that.
How would you describe this area to people?
There's a lot of abandonments, so everybody has a place to live.
Do you
but
call it abandonments?
hmm
How do you survive out here?
I do date
What's the most common drugs to be found around here?
heroin and crack.
How'd you get to here?
Everybody that ends up here gets stranded here. We came to cop. We got caught because it's like a fast life. So and it's everybody gets stuck like this.
So do you feel stuck right now?
Almost.
How much money do I need to find drugs around here?
I don't know. It's just if you can find them. I mean, not everybody's friendly.
Do you know anyone that has passed away from an overdose?
I don't know anybody. It's common.
Is it dangerous being a woman out here?
100%. I've been raped in alleys. I've been held at gunpoint and raped in alleys. I've been held at gunpoint and raped by a child in an alley. I've been held hostage 3 times.
Do you ever call the police?
No.
Do the police help?
They will if you call them, but nobody ever calls.
How did we get here?
You know, the drug epidemic is one thing. That has started back in the 70s. It has progressed to what it is now. Now we have a lot of carjackings, crime, murders, and killings. In my early 20s, a lot of stuff that's going on now, I didn't have to deal with. It's now just me out here doing what I have to do to survive, and then you have a bunch of people with no opportunity. They're gonna do what they know how to do.
What we are about to do is walk into the trap houses. There could be junkies, there could be needles, there could be who knows what around the corner. We're walking into these buildings and seeing what we find.
My fault, I'm not at the crib.
I'm sure we
Just
go
bear with me.
upstairs. Like,
We're just laying for the paraphernalia. Do you think this is someone's spot?
they had a fire going in here.
In this dilapidated building. It's hard to imagine a child living in a place like this. Look,
This floor actually could just crack in. I'll be hella careful because that floor could just drip on. Okay.
Is it scary living here?
I'm not personally scared, no. Some people
I'm not at the crib,
there's a
so
lot
my
of drug
fault.
dealing, rivalries.
If you were mayor, what would you do to make the drug issue be better?
The dealers in jail longer, they're not staying in jail long enough. They've literally set fires inside the house, you know, a metal trash can or something, and it gotten out of hand and caught on fire. Several are burnt down. They've found bodies in there when they're burnt, after they're put out. They need to just tear them down.
What's going through your head right now?
I was chilling, having a good day with y'all.
This is a normal day in the life of Nick, right?
Yeah, this is pretty standard operating procedures, but I'm having a good day.
I've known about this stuff for a while, and I've known like a lot of people I grew up with would come down here to buy drugs, but actually being on the inside behind the boarded up windows, it's pretty fascinating to see the conditions that people live in,
Like, it's easy to watch a TV show about it or read a book about it, but when you actually are walking through the needles, walking through the dilapidated buildings, and talking to people that you can just tell are in a very tough spot. I mean,
when you look at these living conditions, it kind of gives you a good understanding of how this drug affects you. If you're willing to live amongst that, the trash and the filth and whatnot, like obviously it has a really, really strong hold on these people, and it's not as easy as just stop.
Sometimes I feel like people potentially feel like they're happier. That I'll give kudos to Baltimore on. Of all cities I've worked in, they have such an immediate ease of access to treatment here, 24/7, multiple places that you can just show up, have no ID, have no insurance, and by the end of the day, you're gonna be enrolled in an inpatient treatment facility with a rent-free place to live, 6 to 9 months. You're gonna have full case management services that help you get things like TDAP, food stamps, birth certificate, social security card, ID, job placement. So there definitely are organizations here that are ready and willing to help people build back their lives up from the chaos and the death that this is out here.
How bad is the opioid epidemic here in Baltimore?
It's terrible. My daughter, her old man put me out. That turns me back onto the streets.
Coping with life on the streets isn't easy.
No, it's not. My life is too precious to be out here doing the opium and all that bullshit. It's too much. Look at all these abandoned houses. A whole block ain't nothing on the streets. They need to build these houses back up, put people back into society again.
What are some things you think could be done to help curb the opioid epidemic, lessen the damage it's doing to society?
Stop it, like y'all doing.
Raising awareness?
Yes. Like the police raiding all these spots now. That's a good thing, too.
Breaking up the people that are living in the abandoned buildings?
Yeah.
Is this something you see yourself dedicating your life to?
I mean, I already have, bro. Just really the next step is going to be launching the nonprofit in regards to teaching other people the methodology of outreach that I employ on a daily basis. I really just want to positively influence the macrocosm of mankind.
Here's a GoFundMe in the description that's helping him grow his nonprofit, scale his nonprofit. I'm gonna put my own money up for it, and I hope you do as well. Let's see if we can move something, guys. The power of the internet to change people's lives is a beautiful thing. There's a huge drug issue. What is your commentary on that?
The reason I came out here was because I'm an addict. I'm originally from Carroll County, so it was easier to obtain drugs at a cheaper price. I was in treatment. I was living out Frederick at a place called Solid Ground. I was actually 2 years clean. I relapsed, so I came out here with the expectation to continue using.
How long ago was that you relapsed?
This was exactly April last year.
Damn, man.
I shoot up, right?
Yeah.
The only place I can actually go is in my neck. All my veins basically have collapsed or they don't work. When I attempted to inject any kind of drug, what happens is it won't pull the blood. It'll be like a miss. You can see that right there, that's from a miss. Now, anybody that's using kids at home, don't do drugs. It's been the biggest mistake of my life.
Does it feel like a hole that's almost impossible to get?
Well, the way he said that at first, it's like anybody that's using, and then he said kids. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, it be kids that be, doing whatever, everything happen. But it's just that little setup was like.
Oh, definitely. They're trying to mask some kind of pain that
I'm sure
they're
y'all
bearing.
get
For me, it was losing my 2 children. I got 2 kids that got adopted. I lost them about 7 years ago. I signed off my parental rights so they'd have a good life. And I'm glad I did because I ended up going to jail for 2 years. So had I not, I would have pretty much not been there for them regardless. I am homeless technically. I've been staying with a friend in Pigtown. My friend Chris gets 100% disability. We got a nice 3-story townhouse.
So you have a nice place to sleep at, but by day you come here, you panhandle, and you get your fix.
Pretty much.
I see you have different things on your skin. Is that from using?
These are scars right here. But right here, That's from using drugs.
How much money do you need a day to survive?
I have a $12 a day habit.
How many people in your family are also experiencing drug issues?
Well, my father, he's active. Older of my 2 sisters. My youngest sister's never done drugs or alcohol.
How old were you when you tried your first drug?
I was 15 years old. Well, I did pot with a friend, and then my second drug was cocaine.
How many times a day do you use?
Twice. I use right when I wake up in the morning. Usually I'll save something from the night previous. When you use, you stop feeling the euphoria from it, but you'll still get the call, meaning like you'll still feel that warm sensation, and it's just a temporary cushion of comfortability. Even though it does go away, your problems are still there after the drugs are gone. It's kind of like a no-brainer though. I pay money to myself. It doesn't even fucking make sense. If anybody hears this and I can help you in any way, I can tell you I've had like 4 hospitalizations in the past year. One was 2 weeks, the other one was a 10-day stretch, and then a week. Drugs are not worth it.
We got some of your poetry here. Do you mind if I read some of it, or do you want to read it?
Kind gets stuck like elf on the shelf. Now you're a fiend shooting dope and killing on yourself. Your brain starts to change and soon starts to corrode. Your age is still young while your body and soul feels old.
There's too many of us struggling in these streets. The sickness out here is a crippling disease. The junkies out here, parents, kids, and friends, this vicious cycle we live never seems to end. That's powerful, man. What is it like living here?
It's crazy. I was actually born in Germany. I was an army brat, so I've lived in like 7, 8 different states. My parents actually live on a golf course. After college, I kind of, did some stuff on my own, and me and my girlfriend wound up here. We've been here for like 2 years. We lived in like 5 different houses, and every house we seem to move in, the owners come and, end up kicking us out. But we actually found this really...
Are you squatting here? Or?
Yeah.
And how hard is that to do around here?
We actually talked to the person who owns this, and we keep it pretty clean. So he said as long as we continue to keep it clean and we're not causing any trouble with the neighbors, he doesn't mind, because of course if we move out, you don't know who the hell is going to move in.
What are the houses like around here?
You get what you see. They run down. A lot of them, no water, no electricity. Bathrooms are terrible, but for the most part, we can shower, use water to eat, wash our hands and stuff.
What do you make of all the drug abuse that's happening around us?
There's a lot of different reasons why people get hooked on drugs. Most people like to think that, people are doing it just to cover something up or feel better about a past. Started out doing drugs just because I like to get high, I was a former athlete, partied a lot. And one thing led to another, and now I'm out here. It's crazy how it doesn't discriminate, though. I mean, I met a guy out here, he owns his own restaurant, but he gets high like I do.
What's the drug of choice around here?
Cocaine. It's gone from heroin to fentanyl to now the new things like xylazine, I think is how you pronounce it.
That's the tranquilizer, right?
I mean, it's a horse tranquilizer.
It doesn't look fun at all to do.
I'm not gonna lie, I do it, but it's not something I'm hooked on. I did my dope. I went through my dope phase for a while. I went to rehab actually last year.
What's your hope for the future?
This is just a phase for me and my girl. We actually have plans to get out of here. I did pest control for 8 years, and I have 2 of my pesticide license, so I just need 1 more.
I think you'd be booming in business around here.
Absolutely.
You're a poet too?
I am.
Did you grow up in Baltimore?
No, I did not. I grew up on the Maryland-West Virginia state line. Like this interaction right here never happened. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I'd go grab a gallon of milk. After sitting in the parking lot for like 30 minutes, finally go in, grab some milk at the register. All I would say was like, thank you. I can't breathe. I'm sweating.
Does drugs kind of give you the blanket to feel okay in the world?
It does. I don't feel high when I do drugs. I feel what everyone considers to be normal. I've been doing this since I was 18. So a solid, almost 11 years.
It's crazy to see what drug addiction does to people's lives. On one hand, you have a couple here writing poetry, loving each other, doing the best they can. On the other hand, they're living in extreme poverty, battling addiction every day, with their focus of life centered around the drugs.
So folks, this is it. We went boots on the ground, face to face with the drug epidemic here in Baltimore. This is a problem that's only growing, and we need to figure out how to address it as a people. We've seen people that had careers that are now on the street. We had people that had kids and now are on the street. And so it can happen to so many of us. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you next.
I thought this was somebody up there standing, like Steen, but that's like I don't know.
Kids and now are on the street. And so it can happen to so many of us. Thanks for joining me on this journey.